Welcome to Denton Radio in the Morning, powered in part by Classic of Denton. Well, good morning, everybody. It is Denton Radio in the Morning. Thank you very much for tuning in with us today. This is a very special Denton Radio in the Morning. But before we get rocking and rolling with that, we are going to do as we always do and pull a little bit of news from the Denton Record Chronicle. Denton Record Chronicle is Denton's oldest news resource, over 100 years old, and so still kicking out news and giving us all of our information. So we're going to give you a couple of top headlines like we always do, and if you'd like to follow up, you can do so at dentonrc.com. Or, of course, you can come by the Discover Denton Welcome Center. We'll hook you up with a physical newspaper, just like this one. Top stories today: armed robberies worry local workers. Police say one suspect could be connected to 5 holdups in Denton. Whoa. Council slated to vote on budget. No increase in utility for property tax rates for Denton. Interstate effort. Construction on Interstate 35E, as seen on Monday in Denton, is nearly completed. And last but not least, new law helps tackle rape kit testing backlog. All right, if you would like to follow up on any of those stories as well as many, many more, again, you can do so at dentonrc.com. We're also looking at weather today at 75 right now. We are going to jump up to about 94. Going to be partly cloudy throughout the day, but only a 15% chance of precipitation. So shouldn't be a rainy day, but it'll be a little bit cloudy. Not super, super hot, but a little bit warmer than it has been. We are seeing about a high of 96 as a possibility, but it looks like around 4:30 we'll hit 94-ish. And if we're going to go up, we go up then. But we'll spend most of the day in the mid-90s and 80s. It'll trail off back into the 70s when we get into the late evening. All right, that is your news. That is your weather. Now, today we've got a very special guest from Smart City. We have Habib. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good, good. So let everybody know, what is Smart City?
So let's take it this way. Let's think about smartphones. What are smartphones? Smartphones are phones, the regular old phones that we know for a long time. Then we added more connectivity to it. And that sparked all the applications and the innovation that follows after application. If we think about it the same way, smart cities will be the regular city we know with all the services that they provide, but we will add more connectivities and communication to it. And the connectivity and communication is not the goal, but it's the mean to start sparking more application, better services, more innovation, and better efficiency.
Very cool. So you are a student over at UNT, yes?
That's right. Yes.
And so this is part of your research study.
That's right. I'm a student at the University of North Texas in Information Science Department. I do my PhD in smart cities.
Very cool. So if somebody's come by the Discover Denton Welcome Center, they may have seen a survey that's been sitting out here at an iPad that came from you with Smart City, trying to draw more information from people as to what they would like to see in Denton in their involvement with Smart City. So give us some ideas. What are some practical applications of this process that you're talking about?
So practical applications can go into all over the city services. Let's get some examples about weather, since we talk about weather today. Right. And for most Dentonites here, they know that we've heard about the news about Denton weather, dirty weather last year or earlier this year, and mainly that because we have one sensor. In smart cities, we are trying to get more sensors around the city, either crowdsourced, like having multiple sensors from different people's houses or building or on top of buildings. But then the advanced part is we aggregate all this data in an open format where you can read it and utilize it in a way. So Google Weather will be able to grab those information and aggregate it into their forecast or the way they are doing their presentation for the data as well. So you have multiple reads. You will be able to get more accurate information, or at least more aggregated from different places. So if the weather is different in different places, you will be able to see and know what's the differences in there.
Very cool. So so what we're talking about basically is collecting more and more data on the activities of a city, the needs of a city. So when somebody says, okay, we want to do X, Y, and Z project, are we going to put in a traffic light or are we going to put in a bike lane? Smart City would be able to say, okay, you've got 500 cars going this way, but you've got like 10,000 bikes going this way. And you've got some data to be able to back up some of these projects of what's going on so the city's able to continue to improve, right?
Yes, that's right. So having the data is an extra layer that we didn't have the chance to have like before. So adding sensors to multiple areas around the city or multiple operation will allow us with the time, of course, that's not a one-day thing.
Sure.
So after a year or so, you will have more information that you can base your decision based off without the need of, oh, let's do a survey or do a one single time data collection. You have data collection every day. To give you an example, transportation will be one of the biggest beneficiaries for this. Think about again Google Maps, for example. They give you the traffic feed. Some of those feeds are coming from different resources like Department of Transportation and the highway associate groups, and they are providing their data in a certain format. So Google or any other application, Waze or others, they harvest those data and they say, okay, this place, people are slowing down. Of course, this is not the only measures, but this is one of the things that they're using. So if there is a closure usually is not announced except in very old way format, so in papers. But if this data is real time, you will have all the information about the closure online available, so all those applications can be able to read it and redirect people or show it on the map so you make a decision. Different type of application you can do. I'll give you a very nice example from I think Barcelona.
Okay.
They increased, I think, less 30%. Sorry, that was San Francisco. They showed 30% less traffic congestion is due to the drivers looking for parking in certain areas. So they made an application just to direct people toward the parking areas. So they reduced that traffic 30%.
Interesting. Well, and it's little things like that you don't really think of. So people are trying to pull into spaces and things like that, and then they're creating all this clutter, and people are backing into each other. They said, "Why are we so congested here?" Well, let's get some more people to parking easier, and we're going to be able to fix a lot of these issues. That's really, really cool.
Without data, this will be anecdotal event. So, oh, I think this is because that place is having this or this place. It doesn't work this way. With data, you can be certain what are the reason and start eliminating some of them sometimes and do more scientific, I would say, way of improving the space. And the improvement will not be like out of the blue big thing and everything will change, but it will be an incremental gain that you will get out of making those improvements.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, it's amazing, whenever I'm working on different projects, whatever it may be, even on the radio, it's really interesting when you say anecdotal versus the data. You've got somebody who's maybe been in the game a long time, or they have some insight, and they say, okay, I think this is what's going on, and then you do some research and you go, okay, wait a minute, we might have a couple other things here that the data is reflecting that we could do a little bit differently. And the more of that data you can have, the more you're able to really improve your area and your city and all that kind of stuff, which is exactly what we're talking about. And you talked about San Francisco. Are there any other cities that have put together some cool examples like this?
Yeah, so we have multiple cities here in the States are really advanced in this. We'll start with New York, Chicago, Boston. Cool. They're really advanced. In Texas, we have Austin. Austin, if you're interested in data, they have an open data portal that's really progressive and have so much information. Even the counters for streets. Wow. How many people, pedestrian or cars, are moving in that street, you can get from there online. So there are multiple cities that are going toward this, and I think this is the future. Every cities later on will need to have this type of information. So cities that invest right now will have an advantage of being, I wouldn't say early adapter, but it's being early. In this type of technologies.
And so what drew you to the concept of smart city?
Oh, okay, that's an interesting question. So I used to attend TechMill here
Oh,
in Denton.
cool.
Yes, and this is a very Dentonite story.
Yeah.
And
You're a very Dentonite guy.
and while we're doing different events there, I noticed that we invited the city a couple of times to talk about some issues, and we're trying to address in TechMill some of the issues, not in complaining way of
Sure.
doing it, but we're trying to find out how can we help, or is there anything we can do to support this type of problem or solve it.
Mhm.
And through that discussion, I noticed that the city does give the group at least a good reception, and they listen to what we are saying, and we work together toward multiple things. And you can see now stock is available. You can see open data portal now is available. I used to organize with Tickmill and the city the open data day, which we have in March every year, and a couple of other events that relate to data science. Those events shows me that this is a very neat area, though we don't have that many professors working on it per se at UNT, but I managed to find an advisor who's
Cool.
willing to work with me on this topic, and I was really happy and excited to work on something I like, which I used to do as volunteer, and now I'm doing it as my PhD research.
Very, very cool. Well, it's really interesting idea. And Denton really, we go to South by Southwest every year, the Denton
Hmm.
Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we always have a booth and things like that. And go, so why are you touting Denton? We're going, man, because there's so much tech and so much innovation and so many people doing such cool things here that people may not necessarily even know about. And we, the first year that we went, the theme was come create, and there's this fertile ground to create like these really cool things here. And then next year was come innovate, and there's this real, the way I always look at it is, Denton's this really incredible canvas that still has places on it to be painted, and people can come from all over with all sorts of different stuff and do some really cool things. And what it creates is really cool ideas like this that end up when they happen, they can be utilized to help all these other cool ideas happen as well, because now they've got some data places that they can pull from. And so
Sure.
the city's already starting to move in some of these directions and so open to so many of these kind of things. It's just a cool time. I just think it's really, really interesting.
I think Denton pioneered many things before. So, long time ago, even starting the universities, the idea of starting universities in the city with UNT, TWU, the plan to bring the railroad around Denton, to bring more people, to bring different crowds. The I-35. When I read about this stuff, I was, wow.
Yeah.
It didn't happen by chance. It happens because Dintonites at that time and still today are trying to be innovative, creative, and trying to pioneer wherever they go, and to find the technology or the things that. So railroad was a technology as well, going with the lake, pitching
Mm.
the lake, and having all these
Mhm.
resources for the lake. That's a technology that's very important. Without it, there will be just another city in
Yeah.
DFW area.
Well, very, very well said. Well, I love it. It is Smart City. If you would like to check it out for a short while longer, we're going to have a survey available here in the Discover Denton Welcome Center where you can come by and check it all out. We're also going to post a link in the comments on Facebook if you would like to go find that survey as well. Is it still available for people?
The survey will still available, yes, and we are offering free coffee for anybody who does the
Perfect.
survey.
Love it. So make sure you check it all out, guys. Now we are going to jump into some events. Thank you again for being here, Habib. Will you help us go through some of the events for today?
Sure.
We're just going to read off a few of these. Starting off today, we've got the Denton Community Dance Center Fall Session over at Texas Women's University. Next up,
We'll have the Crossroad Tapestry International exhibit at UNT on the square.
perfect. We also have the End and the Beginning at the Visual Arts Building.
We will have Tuesday with Karma Yoga at the Springbrook Academy.
Man, tons of yoga going on these days, man. It's incredible. It's like
Yes.
yoga at the bank and yoga at the mall and yoga. It's just yoga everywhere. I love it. College night with DJ Double at the Abbey Underground.
And for the sport folks, this is TWU volleyball versus Texas A&M Commerce.
That's going to be a great game, by the way. We've also got live jazz at Steve's Wine Bar and
Tiki Tuesday.
Oh, yes, Tiki Tuesday at, actually,
in the basement at Andy's Bar.
I need to pull this up on the screen for people to be able to see. Normally, there we go. We've got live jazz at Steve's Wine Bar, Real Texas Radio happening at LSA Burger. As well, we have
the community dance. I think we covered that, the community dance.
Oh,
center.
yeah, community dance center. That's for yesterday. Let's see. Last but not least, today we've got the symphonic band with Dennis W. Fisher as conductor, and midnight open mic for comedy at Game Changer Sports and Arcade Grill. So plenty of events going on today. Also, if you make sure you pop on over to discoverdenton.com, where we're pulling all of this from, you can find a lot more information throughout the rest of the week and continue planning out your day. You're also going to find restaurant listings, hotel listings, all that good stuff. So make sure you get yourself on a little trip on over here to Denton if you've never been with us before, because there's plenty going on. Habib, thank you again for coming in this morning. Really, really appreciate it. This has been such a pleasure. I think it's such an interesting project, and really appreciate the opportunity to get to talk about it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We come at you every morning at 7:30. We will see you tomorrow. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.